We've now discussed the small pustular, small vesicular skin lesion-based diseases. Now we're going to talk about what they call the large pustule. Okay, large pustules means that here the individual pustular or node or vesicle, the individual ones are going to be anywhere from an inch to 2 inches in diameter. Previous ones, or they're talking chickenpox, smallpox, whatever, the individual vesicles, pustules, were maybe an eighth of an inch, maybe 5 millimeters in diameter. So we're getting to be much bigger things. First one we're going to discuss is what is known as Leishmaniasis. Okay? Leishmaniasis is an infection of the dermal layer, the capillary beds in the dermis, and the subcutaneous layers. Cutaneous Leishmaniasis, I do believe, is going to be more of a Middle Eastern African, caused by Leishmania tropica. So Middle Eastern African out the tropics area. So a nice big swath there. The mucocutaneous leishmaniasis that you're going to find mostly Central and South American is going to be mostly the mucosal layers. Skin mucous membranes is where this one's going to be focused more. Yes, there is overlap, cutaneous and mucocutaneous. The mucocutaneous also involves, like I said, the mucous membranes, the mouth, the sinuses, the eyes. However you get it, whichever one you're getting, transmission is going to be due to sand flies. Sand flies are going to be more, equatorial areas. Tropic Cancer, Tropic Capricorn, all the way around the world. Okay, so that's why Central South America, warm areas, not up in the Andes, or the mountains of, the true southern tip of South America. Too cold, too wet. Middle East, Northern Africa, on around. It's endemic. Okay, it's going to be one of these things that everybody gets exposed to at some point in time. So it's, for a lot of places, when they're endemic like this, that means it's a childhood disease that you're going to get it in childhood, and it's either going to kill you or you won't. If it doesn't kill you, you have lifelong immunity. It's people traveling to or through these areas that are at the highest risk. Okay? They're going to be adolescents to adults. It's going to impact them and hit them harder. And since they're travelers going to and leaving, or just passing through as immigrants, they're going to be going to other areas that this is not endemic at, and it's going to throw the clinicians off because this is going to be something they've never seen before. No vaccine, very little treatments to this. What they've been able to do so far is basically cut down exposure to the sandflies. Antibiotics, creams to kill off the active bacterial infection, maybe oral antibiotics if it's deep enough, cutaneously, and then basically just cover the open wound, because that's what the lesion is just a giant open wound, and the center of the wound is where the bacterial infection is occurring. And though the dermal cells and the epidermal and the upper dermal layers have all been killed and shed off. Another one, and this one we actually have to worry about here in the States. Okay, this is one we can actually see here in the States, is cutaneous anthrax. Yes, Bacillus anthracis, causative agent of anthrax, that killer lung infection. Turns out that if you've ever been out in farm country, you've been exposed. Okay, Bacillus anthracis is a soil bacterium. It is everywhere. Why aren't we all dying of, the lung infection anthrax? Because Bacillus anthracis is on large soil particles. It has to be certain sized bacterial endospores to get down into our lungs before it can germinate and start causing damage. All our normal defenses from the wild Bacillus anthracis won't allow it to happen. But what can happen is if you're out in farm country, you're doing work, it's hot, you're sweating, your pores are opening up to try to increase surface area, get more sweat out, get more of the sweat evaporating, so you get more evaporative cooling. Soil particles get down into your pores. Later that day, you cool off, pores close back up, trapping the soil particles. On those soil particles will be Bacillus anthracis endospores. Bacillus will then germinate and start growing in that closed pore. Turns out Bacillus anthracis has some abilities that are bad for us, and it will start killing dermal cells, which leads to that big black that you see there on that person's neck. Your textbook talks about for the average normal person getting exposed, dirt gets into cuts or abrasions. I've always read more of it being the whole farmer thing, actually being exposed more often and things like that. Diagnosis, go through, take a needle biopsy, needle aspiration from that area, and culture it on blood agar. Look at the serology. PCR, send off a sample that you just aspirated off to the CDC, and within a few weeks they'll send you back results saying, PCR saying yes or no, whether or not the DNA for Bacillus anthracis was detected in the sample. Untreated, that sore, that large pustule will get bigger and bigger and bigger, blackening skin. Anytime tissues turn black, that means they are dead. Not dying, dead, which means that area of death, that black will continue spreading, and the ring around it are cells that are in the process of dying, and it will continue to spread. 20% fatality if cutaneous anthrax is not treated. Prevention, really there's not much you can do. Yes, there is an anthrax vaccine, but that was designed looking for more towards the pulmonary anthrax, not cutaneous. It's not readily available. They're holding this one more for high-risk people as well as military.